Hey, it's Diesel, and I'm down here at Stacked Off-Road, Jeep style, and we're getting ready to go back to Colorado. And the Jeep, when we get ready to go, it is just like a race car. So we are really going through it. One cool thing that I'm excited about is the Jeep does have 100 and close to 170,000 miles on it, and I drive all the way there. And we're gonna hit these trails and I drive all the way back, and it's very demanding. So it's starting to overheat a little bit on the hills and stuff. So we are putting a lot better radiator, and we have a leaky radiator hose. So we're putting some new silicone hoses on it that are going to be super awesome, and they're fancy red. That's going to be fun. And the radiator I chose is actually pretty stinking awesome, and I'll show you that. So here's the radiator. The letters are backwards, but it says power on it, so it has to be great. But the quality of it is just second to none, and it's actually kind of heavy. I'm not super pumped on how heavy it is, but it's supposed to be the best, so I'm excited about that. We put an oil pan on it. The oil pan was leaking. That's like the third oil pan. But the main thing that I want to take a second and tell you guys about, and I'll give an update after the weekend, is wheel spacers. Sometimes you need wheel spacers for clearance and everything like that. So the wheel spacers that I chose, because we are running 40s, and if you run anything, you want to have the best, strongest thing you can. So I actually chose JL. So you have the huge 14 millimeter stud. It's still held together by the half-inch stud on the Jeep, because that's what they were, half-inch studs. But I was worried about, and that's probably the biggest worry, is because if the wheel spacers opened up a little bit right here for the bigger studs, then I'm worried about the grabbing power of the stock lug nut. But when I had it off before I actually installed them, I put it in the hole and looked, and there was a ton of surface that the lug nut actually was able to apply pressure against to hold these wheel spacers on. And then when it goes to the wheel, so I torqued these down to 100, but the 14 millimeter studs that would be on the JL, that's why this JL spacers, I'm running them, is 130 pounds of torque to the rim. So I'm not a big fan of the spacer, but with these big fat studs, my way of thinking is this spacer is going to be more of a bond to the spacer. So the half-inch studs is just kind of holding its normal weight. So that's my way of thinking, just a little bit stronger, and I'll let you know how that turns out. But if you can adapt from half-inch studs to 14 millimeter studs, it's just my way of thinking. It's a little bit stronger. Obviously, it would be the ideal situation to have 9/6 or 14 millimeter and 14 millimeter, but this is a great option. So JL spacers for a JK, I'm liking it. It went on the rim just fine, didn't have any problems. As a JK wheel will go on a JL, just fine. So that's the couple of upgrades that we're doing. We're just checking everything out, because it has to get our butt home, and we're doing some of the craziest trails. If you want to pre-check some of those out, it's Patriot, Carnage Canyon, and a couple other trails that I don't even remember the name. So it's gonna be crazy, gonna be fun. Crawl 5280, check it out on YouTube, and you can actually pre-run these trails like I have, and that's what we're gonna be doing this next week. So this is it. We'll let you know after the week how these JL spacers went, but that's a pretty good option if you have to buy Wheel spacers, kind of a no-brainer. Hub eccentric, Spider Track, JL hub spacers. Alrighty.